I came from this LA world where I was working with Oscar nominated directors and I was working with A-list celebrities, and now like starting from the ground again. And so I came with this ego and this mentality that I had deserved much more. And then realizing that that wasn't really going to fly, it really made me reflect and understand and like, where can I actually be growing as a human? Where can I actually be becoming kinder and softer? Where can I actually be helping others instead of just thinking about myself and my personal growth, which is a weird mentality in the ad industry, but it's made it a lot easier for me to go to work every day.
I couldn't tell if I was more impressed or nervous when I would see an email come in from you at like 1 a.m. and I was like, oh my gosh, she's still awake? and then you'd be like, all right, see you guys at 7 a.m. And I'd be like, oh my gosh, what is her life like? How does she do this?
A garden of pure ideology.
Yeah, just your typical Super Bowl car ad.
Or a hilarious beer ad.
Break was over 15 minutes ago, Mitch!
I think you're the best ever.
Look out. Back up. Where are you?
You're in the bush.
Well, how am I supposed to do? I never been there.
I don't always drink beer, but when I do...
Wanna play Bob?
I think we're going to be here a while.
Hey everyone, today we're talking to Leah Monier-Williams. She's worked with some pretty huge brands such as Target, United Airlines, Snapchat, and Uber, as well as working with directors Roman Coppola and Lauren Greenfield. Some of her latest notable work is with Jonah Hill on the Adidas Originals account. Some things you'll hear about on this episode are how production companies and directors are selected for projects, how she became a producer, how to set boundaries at your company, and how to properly pronounce Adidas. Here we go.
My name is Leah Monier-Williams. I work at Johannes Leonardo. I'm an agency producer for Adidas.
You're so classy.
I'm just a Brooklyn kid, to be honest with you. It's just like what life has given me. But yeah.
Did you grow up in Brooklyn?
I grew up between all the boroughs because I had parents that were divorced and very young. So we moved around a lot.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't know when you got to Brooklyn.
The first time I lived in Brooklyn, I was 14. That's when we moved officially because my dad beforehand was living in Manhattan and my mom was in Queens. So I started my adventure in Brooklyn around that time, but then I didn't come back until I was 27 years old. So I had left when I was 18.
Where'd you go?
I went to New Hampshire first for college. And then after 4 years there, I went to Los Angeles. Was
Plymouth State, right?
Plymouth State University, yes.
Yeah. How was the program there? Didn't you do a film program there?
I did not do a film program there. Actually, my journey to film is actually a very interesting one because I grew up in a very artsy, artisanal, like creator family. Nice. So I was always kind of pushed and made aware to be around and like really fall in love with all different types of art forms, not just film, not just media. Actually, if anything, I was told to shy away from media.
Really?
And advertising and film and television. Like those were things that were like little, like not seen as like lesser than, but seen as like if you were given a creative brain, like make, like with your physical hands, like that's like kind of the family I've come from. So my mom being a sculptor and my dad being like, he creates.
Man, I have some friends who love sculpting. That must be awesome to be around. At least from the outside, it seems really cool to have been around.
It's interesting. I mean, growing up with it is different than like falling in love with it as an adult or a teenager and like really loving it. It's more of just like what is part of my life that I didn't choose. But like, I appreciate the art form because welding, like my mom's 5 foot, probably like 110 pounds, and she welds steel sculptures that are like 10 feet tall.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, it's pretty insane.
Oh my gosh. So you were around real artists growing up.
Yeah, at one point in my life, I'd lived in an artist commune with my mom and 2 of her artist friends and their children.
What? How old were you when this happened?
I want to say it was like 11, 12, 10, 11, 12, like in that area. It was only for about 2.5 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to keep asking questions. I feel so boring. Hearing that your mom was a sculptor and artistic communes, you seemed like you were raised in it.
I was, yeah. I think working in advertising, at least my mom's side of my family, my dad's side of my family, and my stepmom, they're in media. My stepmom's in television. My dad was in independent film before he moved over to now. He creates furniture out of reclaimed wood.
Wow.
So
such creative people.
Yeah. So like I was more forced to be creative, and it was something that I kind of just like, oh, I don't know if I really want to do that. I think I see that lifestyle, and I think I want to just like work a 9 to 5 and be in a cubicle and like do a normal life.
You think that was rebelling against it?
It was rebelling against it, but I didn't really end up there. So It's like I tried, but it didn't really work out.
Well, let's see. So you're kind of unique to who we have on here. Can you tell me what your average day is like, or what your average job is on a project?
My average job on a project?
Well, jobs in your case.
Yeah, I think for me, it's like I can start from a scope of a job. And so the client, the brand that we're working with will come to you and will say, we need to create a campaign for the upcoming season. Either my biggest client that I have always worked on was Adidas. So it was on fashion cycles. So like,
wait, is that the right way to say it? Have I been saying it wrong?
Yeah, it's Adidas.
Oh, wow.
It's a German company, so they have like
I'm
a German. No, it's fine. Like one of the first things I learned when I started at Johannes was how to say it correctly. Whenever I say it to people, they're like, "Oh, fancy." I'm like, "It's Adidas." But, sure.
Okay, so you're an agency producer at Johannes Leonardo for Adidas, and
agency producer at Johannes Leonardo for Adidas pre-COVID.
I just wanted to say all the fancy things that I could. I'm curious, are you at the table when you guys are, how do you guys pick like what production company and directors you want to work with?
So I think it depends on the creative team you're working with. So there's some creative teams that I work with that I'm the one spearheading the search and really being like, these are the companies I've worked for. These are the directors that I've worked with that I know that I like. Here's the list. Pick from this list. But then sometimes you still do that as a producer every time. But then sometimes you're met with creatives that already have their list of people that they work with, that they like, and they will then push those people. And then at the end of the day, it's like the producer and the creative are working together to come down with a short list of like 5 companies or 5 producers, or 5 directors, and then present that to client. And then sometimes client will be like, actually, we don't want any of those people. We have someone that we work with all the time. Reach out to them. So it's really dependent on like who your creative team is, who your client is, and like how many favors you need to pull. Because sometimes you'll be like on a really small, either a small scale and a quick turnaround, like something I worked with you guys on, that they were like, honestly, just give us who you know can get the job done in the time frame and for the money that we have, and like we'll just check them out and make sure that it's okay. And so sometimes it's that, and it's like you go through all those. You don't have to go through any of the loopholes of like getting it approved or getting like a whole process, but like it's like quick, like, here, we're making this tomorrow.
Do you like that part of the process?
I love giving the underdog the opportunity. So, and that's not the case all the time. So it kind of goes, it goes against a few core values that I have, but it's fine. It's okay.
Well, that's awesome. What was the bridge between college and your first, like, I guess, professional job? Did it set you up in any way?
It did, actually. And it was kind of happenstance because I had been put on this path of documentary from that boss, and I had started producing documentaries and fallen in love with that art form, which was something that I'd never really paid much attention to earlier in my life. And I went out to LA, and I basically just like, one thing they always tell you not to do, like, don't bring your resume in, don't knock on doors, like, don't, like, just send it out in an email, find a connection and email it out. I decided to knock on doors and bring my resume to people. And I wound up at this one company called Chelsea Pictures. They're a commercial production company that was, or still is, bi-coastal, LA and New York. Mm-hmm. And I was attracted to them because they were female owned. And they also had a lot of documentary directors on their roster. But I thought it was a documentary production company, meaning if I worked there, I would work on documentaries underneath directors. And then when I ended up getting the internship, I realized it was a commercial production company that represented documentary directors to make branded content in documentary style. So that's how I kind of segued from film into the commercial world very early on in my career. I was 21 years old at that point. So
nice.
Yeah, I worked there for a year. And then I went freelance in Los Angeles, working on the physical production side. So working on sets and like kind of going my way up to a line producer for really small productions. But I was working on like multi-million-dollar with Oscar-winning directors and brand, wow, like huge talent, celebrities, like musicians. And it was just a really good 5.5 years in LA. And then at the end of it, I realized I needed to come back to New York, and I wanted to like be around family, and I wanted to be closer to the people that like I loved so dearly, but like had lost touch with because I was out in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And it just happened that the opportunity for me to work at Johannes Leonardo kind of lined up with a freelance job that I had done for them. I really liked them. They seemed to like me. So I came to New York and I asked for an interview. They interviewed me, and that was like 2.5 years later. 2.5 years later, here we are. That's
well, but before all this happened, I know you were working on your project, and you were also producing, doing your agency job. So how are you balancing your passion projects between work? How are you balancing between filmmaking and advertising?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's not an easy task to balance between doing your passion projects and working a full-time job, especially when your full-time job is in advertising, because it's so intensive. And one of the biggest things for a producer is the long hours that we have. But the fortunate thing about full-time, which I figured out after I took this job, was that you have sometimes a month of downtime where you're just like getting your paperwork together or waiting for the next project to finally get out of creative development before it hits like your desk as a producer. So in those moments, instead of like taking off for the whole month and traveling, I could take off a week and travel and then take off 2 other weeks and then just do my personal projects, which I've found out has been the best way. There was a lot of trial and error in the beginning of like, I just leave work early and then work until 4:00 in the morning. But then I would just be so drained and angry and aggravated because I wasn't putting out the best work that I could in either spheres. So it has been like finding those pockets where I could take off. I have unlimited PTO, so take off and actually like focus my full energy on doing like a personal project.
That's pretty cool. So you totally separate for a little while to work on your project. Yeah, that's probably better. We've been saying like chopping down trees at work lately. Like I told Justin, our director, I was like, man, sometimes I feel like I'm just walking through a forest with a knife, just like scratching at trees. I need to just stand in front of one and just spend a day or a week or weeks just chopping the one tree down. Yeah. Because I feel like I'm not getting stuff done sometimes when we're working on like 20 things at once. It's a silly lumberjack analogy, but visually it started to make sense.
No, it's super hard. Like I definitely understand it. I've been there where I'm like, I'm trying to do this project, but then like I get like one step ahead and then one step back and one step ahead, one step back. Yeah. You just have to find your balance. I mean, and everyone's going to be different.
Yeah, you definitely, from the one experience I had with you, I mean, you're kind of you have to be talking to a lot of people at once. I noticed you have some pretty busy email threads that you have to manage. Like I couldn't tell if I was more impressed or nervous when I would see an email come in from you at like 1 a.m. and I was like, oh my gosh, she's still awake. And And then you'd be like, all right, see you guys at 7 a.m. And I'd be like, oh my gosh, what is her life like? How does she do this?
But the good thing about that is I know it's only like a 4-day span that you'll be doing something like that.
So that's not every day for you?
No, absolutely not. Like if that was every day, that would be insane. It's usually when we're in production, even if it is just like a post-production job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've had to pull all-nighters doing it, but it'd be like you pull 2 all-nighters in a row and then they give you a week off of work.
Nice.
You know,
that's cool.
so
I didn't know that.
balances.
I figured at the level you're working at, I just assumed, I was like, man, this just must be, this is her thing. Like she is capable of working until 2:30 a.m. and then she's up at 6 doing it again. And I was like, that's that New York life. But I think sometimes, I know I assume sometimes I'm like, man, I wonder if they have, I just wonder about the like, would you say boundaries earlier? That was a much better way of saying it. Yeah. I wonder how much the boundaries are respected, you know, when you're working at a higher level, if there are any at all.
Yeah. And I think it's up to the individual to set them.
Yeah.
And it's harder if you come in with none and then try to put them in place. It's really, if you think about it, it's human nature, right? Like, so like the human mind, if you come in with like, these are my parameters already, like people will maybe fight it, but then respect it. But if you come in saying like, I'm an open book, like I can work 7 all-nighters a week and it doesn't matter. And then you try to create like, oh, I don't do that anymore. They'll be like, no, that's not who you are. It's hard to break that box of who you are when you're introduced. So I think that as growth happens within your role in a company, it's harder and harder to put boundaries. So I've had some really good supervisors and some really good people that I've worked underneath that have pushed me to even be more vocal about my boundaries.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
What are and I'm sorry if this is tough, but did you ever have a really rough or bad job experience that you had to resolve or solve or work your way out of that you could share?
The first Adidas job I worked on, I worked with this young senior producer who I was the first person he was learning to manage. But I didn't really like enjoy the idea of being managed by someone who was so new at managing. So I really challenged a lot of his tasks. Like naturally, I look back and I'm just like, why did I do something like that? Like that was so like, I should have been kinder. I should have been softer towards him. I should have understood where he was coming from in being so new to managing people and knowing myself that I've been told I'm unmanageable by many managers throughout my life. But yeah, we had a lot of conflict. Our the head of our production had talks with us separately and together, and eventually one day it just clicked. I don't know what was going on. It just clicked in my mind, like, Leah, just apologize and just listen to what he has to say. Even if it's wrong, you don't have to like take it on as your own. And I think that's when I realized like a lot of the tension that was happening was because I was not listening to someone who's supposed to be my supervisor. The way our agency works or our department works is they like to switch us up very often. So we're working with different people all the time. So you learn how to work with different people. It builds you. It makes you a lot stronger than just working with the same team.
Yeah, sounds like it.
I think I've even just doing that has been a growth experience. Just like understanding like everyone's human. So, and we're not all trauma or pain or suffering free. So, what comes with a human is not perfection. So you have to kind of learn to manage that a bit yourself, even if you are on a lower level.
I'm curious, do you know your Enneagram type? Well, I want to know, but
that's a ridiculous question.
I'm glad you asked why I'm asking, because some of the things you're saying I had problems with myself. And if people were giving me what I would say are like bad tasks that just didn't make sense to me, or maybe were dumb, or maybe I thought I knew better, or maybe I actually did know better and I still thought they were bad, I would just kind of internalize it and get angry. Yeah. And then I'd be like, I can't believe this. And I think most people do that. I think it's very like, I don't know, pre-podcast, pre-internet culture. You know, if you have like a boss or someone who's above you who gives you something, you just kind of go home and rage about it and go back and put up with it the next day. I read, I don't know if you heard of the book Extreme Ownership, but the author tells the story once. Had you heard of that one?
No, I haven't heard of it.
Yeah, it's by this guy, Jocko Willink. And he's a retired Navy SEAL commander. And he was talking about this point. And they go around and coach all these businesses and stuff. And he was talking about just how his guys were complaining one day. They were like, they keep sending us on all these like stupid missions. They're so dangerous. Like, why would they do that? They're trying to get us killed. And he said, well, then we're obviously failing to communicate.
Yeah.
He said, if they're doing something stupid, it's because we're not communicating with them that they're doing something stupid. And when I heard that part of the book, I was like, oh,
yeah,
okay, that's a different way to do that rather than just kind of like raging about it and be like, can you believe how stupid they are? Like, and it's weird when you finally break it down and it's like, talk to them. You're like, oh yeah, I guess. And that's why I was curious what Enneagram
I'm a
you
3.
are. You don't have to share. You're a 3? I'm a 3.
Oh, who knew?
And that's why I asked. I hate being a 3. It's a curse.
I love it.
You love it? I'm glad you own it, because sometimes people are like, 3, yeah, you know that's Iron Man, right? It's Tony Stark. And I'm like, cool. Well, I'm not Iron Man, and I'm also not rich, so that just leaves the asshole part.
Yeah. I mean, being a 3, I enjoy it because it's like, I don't know how to be anything else, so I might as well love what I am.
I wonder if I started asking all of the producers, directors, actors, writers what their type is, if they would be consistent across the board.
I don't think so.
Like if the the DPs are all the same, if the producers are all the same.
No.
You want to say no? I'm going to call you in a year.
I'm going to say no just
because how it
because
worked out.
I had thought about that this morning, that I have a friend who's super creative, and I'm like, I can't believe she's not a 4, but she's an 8. And I was just like, I think like creativity lives beyond just being a 4.
Yeah. Yeah. I also don't like being put in a box, but apparently that's a 3 thing too.
That is definitely
I can't
a 3
escape
thing.
it.
I didn't accept my Enneagram for the first year.
I didn't either. What are some of the best things, the highlights about what you do?
The first thing that goes to my mind is like the perks. But I think kind of leading off of what I just said, being challenged and having so much personal and professional growth in a way that I didn't think was possible. I don't think a lot of people look at it this way, and maybe it's just unique to who I am, but I honestly like saw how my ego was at work in like based off of the position that I was and based off of the person that I was, thinking like I came from this LA world where I was working with like Oscar nominated directors and I was working with like A-list celebrities, and now I'm like starting from the ground again. And so I came with this ego and this mentality that I had deserved much more. And then realizing that like that wasn't really going to fly, it really made me reflect and kind of understand and like, where can I actually be growing as a human? Where can I actually be becoming kinder and softer? Where can I actually be helping others? Instead of like just thinking about myself and my personal growth, which is a weird mentality in the ad industry, but it's made it a lot easier for me to go to work every day because I'm like being challenged to be the better person. And I've yet again had I really want to shout out her name, but I'm not going to. I had a really good supervisor who had championed me into Johannes, who is still there, who at times I wouldn't want to hear what she was saying to me. But now that I look back, I'm like, she challenged me to be better. And in ways that I didn't think I needed to be. Do
you have a project of yours that means the most to you? And I know since you do your doc stuff on your own outside of work, is that a good way to describe that? And then you've got the commercials you produce at work. Mm-hmm. So as far as your stuff at work, is there a project of yours that's one of your favorites that meant the most to you?
So the one that I want to talk about, I'm under NDA, but it was my first project that I did at the agency. And it was started off by 2 creatives, a young junior team at my company that wanted to create an initiative against gun violence. So
Wow.
But what ended up happening was we created this whole campaign, but then we pass it off to like a grassroots on the grounds protester campaign to these young kids that then took it. But I was really happy to be part of something like that and helping produce for these two creatives at my company, like just getting them like in a sense, a toolbox together for this other organization that we pass it off to. And I think for me that really was the intersection between like documentary work and ad work that I strived for. And my company is really known for doing things like that. Like they really like to kind of, if you come to the founders of my company with an idea saying like, hey, like I want to talk about Black Lives Matter movement, they'll champion you in like whatever kind of way you want. I'm really fortunate to be at the company I'm at and not at another ad agency. I've never worked anywhere else, but like I've seen them from the outside and I'm like, I don't think I would have fit in there. I don't think I would have managed to stay as long. I mean, all the Adidas stuff. I traveled worldwide with them. Like I can't pick one and say like, this was my favorite because they all were such unique, beautiful experiences. And I got to travel the world for free. Like,
that's awesome. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, just working on that client has been really amazing.
What can you tell me about your process, like your workflow a little bit? Like how do you get tasks done? How do you keep track of things? And do you have any specific apps that you like to stick to or ways that you like to communicate with the people that you're working with?
So I'm a direct communicator, which I had to learn to become, but I definitely don't have a process. I think there's a lot of trial and error in my life where it's like, okay, I'll use this app or I'll do it this way, or I will learn how to like work in this person's workflow. But at the end of the day, I just like learned to structure a really good email, learned how to be really direct with people, even if it's over like Slack or Gmail, just being like straightforward and taking notes in like my notes app. And we use the Gmail suite. So Docs, Google Docs, Google Slides.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, all those I've become well versed in. But besides that, I, for work, don't think that any other really kind of system worked for me. I think I just had to like learn to become just organized in my mind so I could be organized in life.
When you ask someone to do something or you tell them to do something, do you just tell them and then leave it alone? Or do you wait until you have heard from them to like, do you need confirmation from them before letting go of it?
I think it depends.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it depends on the person. So whoever you're giving the task to, I would only give a task to someone that I know could accomplish the task within the time frame that I needed. And most of the time I would just do like, here's the task. Like, let's talk about it. Or like, let's have a 20-minute meeting about it or a 10-minute meeting about it in person. So I'm looking at you directly and like, I'm giving it to you. And then I'll follow up in an email if I need to follow up in an email. Yeah. Or I would just like walk over to their desk when we had desks and just be like, hey, do you have time to do this? Okay, cool. You do. I'm going to send you an email with all the information. I just like talking to people. Yeah. So I don't know. I have like, you'll probably listen to people and be like, yeah, I just love just writing everything in an email, or like, I never talk to a human in person. And I'm like, I want to talk to people in person. Quarantine is killing me.
Is there anything you wish you knew starting out? Like if you could turn back time and tell your younger self something different, would you have something?
The thing I would tell myself at a younger age it's not really pertaining to the ad industry per se. So the thing I would tell myself is focus on what you want to do right now and don't focus on what you want to become in 10 years. And you will enjoy life a lot more if you focus on this year, this moment, this month, this week, and like what you're interested in doing right now. And I think that if I followed that, my path would have looked a lot different. But in the same breath, I really have enjoyed my journey.
What about someone who wanted to transition into the ad industry, or someone who wanted your job, or coming out of college? What would you tell them to do right now, if anything?
I would tell them to find a really good mentor, someone who either at their first company that they worked for, or someone that they've met by going to an industry event, and find a really good mentor and trust them, because there are really good mentors out there. And I think that there are, especially for women and women of color, from my experience, we love championing other women. So if you're a woman trying to get into the ad industry and you don't know where to start, find another woman who works in the ad industry. And I think for males, it's much easier. It's a male-driven industry mainly. So there's a lot of men that are kind and sweet and want to help other people rise up. So I think it's just finding those people and avoiding the others.
What are you most excited about right now? Is there anything you're curious about these days?
I think getting back into the world and kind of having interactions with humans that I normally wouldn't have interactions with. I think that's something that has always inspired me to create and tell stories, is just these weird happenstance run-ins with people, or conversations that you have that are so random and you're like, what just happened? What did that person just say to me? What did I just say back to them? And that is something that has always fueled my creativity, that I still have a sense of it and a bit of it, but not as much as I'm used to. So excited for humans.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are excited for humans. I'm this close to just caving and getting a dog, because
you should
just need another life around here.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite commercial?
Okay, so it's really funny because I don't really watch a lot of commercials, but there was one commercial that I watched a few years ago by Cadillac, and it was part of their Don't You Dare campaign that I honestly just started watching on repeat. And I think it was because it was just about these young, not underprivileged, but underrepresented and kind of people that were more pushed to the side, that were inventing things and creating things and doing things that were outside of the box that society had put on them. So to me, it was kind of just super inspirational and something that I really just connected with on a soul level. Tell me, don't you dare, because then I'm going to go after it even harder. And I think that's what the gist of that campaign was. Yeah, it was less about the car, the humans that would drive the car.
What's your favorite movie?
Oof, favorite movie. This is a hard one. So for me, my favorite movie would be probably Blue by Krzysztof Kieślowski, which actually in my background there, you can see I have the laser disc right there framed. And it's a movie from the 80s by a Polish filmmaker. The topics that he focused on are topics that I really am drawn to, which are the intersection between faith and fate. Yeah, I just think his filmmaking is beautiful.
I need to look that up too then.
Yeah.
Since you've been so involved with documentaries since a young age, do you have a favorite documentary or documentary series?
That's a good question. I like the Minimalist documentary that was about living a minimalist lifestyle. And then for some reason, I really liked okay, don't judge me. But I liked the format of it. That's why. The contents around it was groundbreaking for its time. But now looking back at it, you're like, oh my gosh, the Super Size Me documentary.
When you started apologizing right away, and I was like, is she going to say Tiger King?
No. The Super Size Me.
Okay.
So yes, it was groundbreaking. Morgan Spurlock was so ahead of his time in the sense of using yourself as the subject to a degree where you're testing, and it's this weird socio political / documentary weird life experiment that he just did in front of us.
Wait, so you really like what's going on in the documentary? You don't seem to be as caught up with the flair or the cinematography or whatnot of it.
I'm a storyteller. I love stories.
Do you have, I want to know, do you have a personal motto or mantra that you like to live by?
I think it depends on the season that I'm in my life. But right now, it's interesting. This is what my mantra is for the moment. Breathe, pause, dig in, and hold on.
So appropriate. So it's breathe, pause, dig in, and hold on.
Yeah,
Nice.
or the more controversial one is
Yeah, give me that one.
breathe. Well, it's not really bad. It's breathe, pray, dig in, hold on.
Okay.
But yeah, hard to be an open Christian in the ad industry. So you just kind of fly under the radar a bit.
I asked a lot. Thank you so much. What's the best way to approach you if someone wanted to ask you questions, or not to approach you, which is also important?
Yeah, I love talking to people. So I would say just an open, honest email.
Okay.
But like if this is more of like a general, like how to approach a producer, I think I would give different advice, but in general, how to approach me is just be like, hey, I saw this and I'm interested in knowing more. Do you have time to chat?
Nice. And that's through your work email or your website?
Yeah, you can do my work email. It's leahm@johannesleonardo.com.
And your website, if we wanted to find you there, is mindfulfilm.com, right?
Mindfulfilm.com, yeah.
I hope you enjoyed our second episode of Filmmakers in Advertising. If you have any questions you'd like to hear answered by our guests, or a specific type of guest you'd like to hear from, just head to our Facebook or Instagram pages and let us know in the comments. From Cry, a production house in New York City, I'm Cody, and this is Filmmakers in Advertising.